Hey, welcome back to my channel. Today I am making a video on tips and tricks for getting tickets to the BTS World Tour in Seoul. This video will be mainly on the ticketing website Interpark. It is not for all global concerts, this is just for the Seoul concerts. Personally, I have been to quite a few BTS concerts now and I've used Interpark quite a few times, and I have been lucky enough to pretty much get tickets to every BTS concert in Seoul on Interpark, except for the festivals, which are just nearly impossible. So I'm just sharing some tips that I've personally used and find to be super helpful. Now, I'm not saying these are foolproof, and I'm not going to talk about any sort of tips that other people have talked about, because this is just my personal experience and I thought I'd share it for anybody who is like a first-time buyer or just a little bit anxious about buying tickets. So first, let me talk about how Interpark works, because it is a different ticketing system to the one that I have in Australia and to a lot of other countries' ticketing systems. Essentially, on Interpark there is no sort of like cart. I know in Australia we have like Ticketek and Ticketmaster, and essentially when you get the ticket you have it in your cart for a certain amount of time in which you can pay. It is not like that on Interpark. In Interpark, essentially, it's the first person to pay for the ticket that gets the ticket. So there could be 5 of you guys holding the same ticket at the same time, but it's the first person who puts through the payment information and presses submit that gets the ticket. So sometimes you will get the ticket and you'll be filling out all your details and blah 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 blah, and suddenly when you press to pay, it just says, oh, there's an error, or it no longer exists. It means that somebody has already paid ahead of you and therefore you've lost out on that ticket, which makes it really stressful, because on the site often it will say that there is 200 seats, 400 seats, 500 seats left, yet when you look at the page there is no colored square, aka there is no free seat. It's because people are already fighting over those seats, and unless the payment gets rejected or something bad happens, those seats will not come back in. So it is a very frustrating system, and if you've never used it before, it is kind of crazy, and you get a little bit frustrated and a little bit angry, but yeah, the best way to go about familiarizing yourself with it is to go on there now and just click through some of the events they have on sale, so you can get a hang of how the screens look and how the system works. Interpark does take international cards and Korean cards. There is a Korean version of the Interpark website which has been rumored to get tickets out first. I do not know, I've only used the global website. Personally, I feel like they both sell out at the same time. I don't think if you have the Korean account it'll be faster or anything like that. I think it is just as hectic regardless of which version of the website you are on, but only the international one will take international credit cards. So I wanted to quickly touch on the BTS membership, because a lot of people are asking about it and how it works. This membership is essentially only for the Korean fan club. Now, K-pop idol groups do have like fan clubs, especially in mainly Korea and Japan. Japan has a separate fan club to the Korean fan club. It is not an international fan club, it is mainly for the group's activity within that country. The membership only lasts 1 year. With your membership you get certain perks, one of which is you get like a little membership kit which includes a card and like photos and stuff like that. The other benefits is mainly if you are living in Korea, it is not really accessible when you live overseas, because they include like concert perks and music show perks and any special show perks, which tend to happen mainly in Korea. So as an international fan, when you buy the membership, you're really paying for that membership kit, if you're a collector, if you just enjoy having that, and B, if you intend to travel to Korea to see them, then that kit is really helpful, aka for example right now when you're about to do ticketing, but also at the concerts there are members only tents which have members only gifts which are not for sale and are only for those members in that term. That's all I'm going to say about it. If you have any questions, you can put them down in the comments below and I will try my best to answer them when I can, and if there's a lot of questions I will try and make a brief video on it. So I have 7 tips for you today, so I'm going to go through them pretty quickly because they're pretty straightforward tips. The first one is, like I've already said in the beginning of this video, familiarize yourself with the site. My number 2 tip is I always have the clock, like a live clock next to my site that tells me the seconds. This is only because I know that I'm an anxious person, and if I'm just looking at the time without the seconds, I feel like I don't know when it's gonna start counting down. So I have the clock there. and I look at it, and if the ticket goes on sale, for example, at 7 p.m, at 6:59 I refresh the site. Why do I refresh the site? Because at 6:59 the site is still saying that the tickets is not on sale, but the minute it strikes 7, the site will change and it will suddenly become on sale. However, if you refresh it at 7, everybody will be trying to get in then, so you'll be hectically delayed. So I try and press refresh about 1 minute/30 seconds before the opening time of the ticket sales. That way it has a moment to load and go through, and that way by 7 and sometimes 7 o'clock, 10 seconds or 30 seconds, I get to go in, and it's a lot smoother process than kind of waiting and clicking in at exactly 7, because that's when the rush of the traffic is. My second tip is, after that initial refresh, do not hit refresh again unless you come up with the error page. Okay, unless you get an error page, do not press refresh. If your bar says it's loading, if it says it's loading, just let it load, because the minute you refresh, essentially you go to the back of the line. My fourth tip is memorize your details. I mean, I know you know your name well, I know you know your phone number and email and all that well. Just know all your details really well, because the Interpark website does not allow autocomplete. So even if you have that set up on your Chrome or whatever it is, it will not autocomplete that detail for you. So you need to be really quick at putting in your name, your address, your phone number, and your credit card details like ASAP. If you're nervous about it, practice it on the site. Like I said, time it, get really pro at it, because you literally, like, between you and another person getting the ticket, you literally have seconds. So just get your fingers going and get really good at putting in those numbers, because that is between getting a ticket and not getting a ticket. Also, for putting in your details, it's really important that you put your name as per your photo ID, because that is the only way you'll be able to pick up your ticket. Because as an international ticket buyer on Interpark, we will not get our tickets sent to us. We'll have to go in and pick it up on the ticket booth at the day, and to do that you will need to bring in your photo ID. So make sure that your name that you put to buy the ticket is exactly the same as the name on your photo ID, so that when you go and pick it up, you can do that. So my fifth tip is keep trying. Just because if you see no colored squares left, which means there's no free seat left, doesn't mean there is actually no tickets left in there. You just have to be patient, but like, don't click refresh. Actually, there is a button when you go into the seating, click reselect seats, and it will refresh just the seating chart. That way you're still where you are in the website. It's just refreshing that seating chart, and if there's any free seats, it will pop back up. And this flows into my next point, which is cancel tickets. There's a few reasons why your ticket might get cancelled or why other people's tickets might get cancelled, and the number one reason is you put in the wrong credit card details, and sometimes it takes them a few days to pop back up. So maybe you have to wait 2-3 days, maybe it's 10 days, maybe it's 20 days, but it will happen and tickets will pop back up throughout the time. So don't feel like you've lost out, because you got it. You can do it. It's gonna be good. My last tip is, a few days before the concert, start going back on the site to look for tickets, because that is when a lot of resellers who weren't able to resell their tickets start cancelling their tickets. Interpark has a really lenient cancellation policy where even if you cancel up to the date or the day before, you still get a majority of your money back on the ticket. So a lot of resellers who aren't able to sell their tickets on that day, they start to cancel their tickets around that time. Definitely wait around for them, because you never know. You never know when people start canceling. Like as an example, I was trying for BAP tickets and they said it was sold out on the first day of selling, and actually now it's been almost a week later, and actually there's almost 100 seats still left for the concert. So tickets do pop back up. Yeah, that's really all my tips for going to get tickets on Interpark. I've also talked about Korean ticketing in another video, so I'll link that down below. Again, this is just for mainly the BTS ticket on Interpark. And this is both for the membership and non-membership people, because Interpark kind of works the same, just that people with membership get access before, obviously. Thank you for watching. Hopefully it has been somewhat helpful, and take a deep breath. It'll be okay. We're all stressed about it, but we'll all be okay. And worst come to worst, there's always resale tickets, so start saving, and good luck everybody. I hope to see you guys at the concert, because I know no matter what, I am going to try my best to get a ticket to this concert. So yeah, I'll see you there, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!